I think if I may, it might be useful to look at the situation in the discipline of engineering in 1949, which is when I first took the higher school certificate examination, and which, of course, as you know, is one of the several precursors to keep as it is today. What I discovered, engineering was not offered as a profession by the University of the West Indies. And indeed, the only way that it was possible to get into engineering was by a very circuitous route. And that is, the government of the day offered 4 scholarships, national scholarships. One was for girls, the other was in modern studies, and the remaining 2, one was in mathematics and one would have been in natural sciences. So that the persons who won those scholarships were entitled to free tertiary education abroad. So the chances, of course, of obtaining these things were very, very remote. Now, at the same time, it has to be said that there were not very many schools in Britain offering my own discipline, chemical engineering. I think we had Imperial College, Birmingham, Manchester, and so on. But they're not too many. So it was not a popular discipline. Today, I think there are about 125 institutions offering chemical engineering. Anyway, while I was deciding what I would do, I had a most generous offer from UBOT, which of course was a shell company, to join what turned out to be a very solid and comprehensive training program, at the successful completion of which I would be sent abroad to read a discipline of my choice. Now, Shell, I must tell you, was a very far-sighted company. I think they understood that they had to pay much more attention to training of locals and inserting locals, replacing the expatriates as they came. I think they were fully committed to the training program. What was interesting about the training program was that it was extremely well structured, so that my later undergraduate colleagues don't know what a heat exchanger looked like. I know what a heat exchanger looked like. I know how to use a lathe. They don't. So that it was a comprehensive, hands-on program. And I will tell you that the thing was so well structured. One was allowed the privilege of actually carrying out the role and function of a number of individuals in the various departments that we visited. So that, for example, in the refinery operations, I was what they called a fireman in those days. I was a plant operator, and indeed I was given the chance to actually perform these functions. By the same token, in exploration and production, I was given the opportunity to be what they call a mud boy, drilling fluids assistant, moving to driller, and in fact I know how to drill a well. Similarly, in the exploration and production side, one got a feel for petroleum reservoir engineering, which had me actually fascinated for a little while. So it was very interesting. One was able to perform the functions and carry them out. So from this point of view, it was an extremely well-structured program. the institution of chemical engineering has been using me as a role model and a mentor on an international basis. To give an example of the things that I've been doing, I was given the opportunity to do the lead plenary address at the World Conference on Chemical Engineering in Glasgow some years ago. By the same token, I have delivered again another plenary address, actually at ACMA, which is the conglomerate of the Australian and New Zealand Chemical Engineering Group. So I did that. And while I've had no formal links with the American Institute, they too have asked me to deliver lectures all over the place. San Francisco, in their hometown where the Institute was founded, Pennsylvania, about 100 years ago. So they've been very good to me, and and they've always welcomed me, and I have been able to interface with them on a very good basis. I think it is getting the country as a whole to be more supportive of engineering. Unfortunately, a parallel project of mine did not work out so well because I was trying to push the business of productivity. That didn't work out so well. I think you would ask at one stage what was the situation in relation to the oil situation here in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a very limited supply of oil and gas. In fact, it's possibly 1/3 or 1% of the world's energy reserves. But as you know, we've been able to work wonders with it. We have developed, and not only but me, but the country has developed the use of gas as opposed to liquid fuel in harnessing. And here I include the downstream projects such as ammonia, methanol, urea. And I think you knew that ammonia and urea, we are probably the leading, or used to be, the world's leading exporter of ammonia and urea. And in fact, we've served as a model for others. Others have followed us. But the situation in the oil industry causes one to have a little concern. And I think one will see a number of businesses falling out. Hopefully not some of ours. After all the business of the Bakken situation, where they produce so much shale oil and shale gas, they have now moved to a situation where it is now possible to drill a well in 1 week at a cost of less than $1.5 million US. So that these people are now all over the place on this exercise. They know where the shale gas is, and the investment therefore is relatively small, and they are going to make a big difference. So I think we have to be very, very careful. No, I have no regrets whatever. There was a time when I was fascinated, as I said, by petroleum reservoir engineering, but I'm past that stage now.
So you wanted to be considered a reservoir engineer?
That's right, sounded good.
But you ended up being a professor teaching reservoir engineering.
Yeah. Well, I had several names which I had in mind, but you have dealt with many of these, so that I have to reflect a little bit further on this.
Any jumps out at you? Any individual?
Well, nobody knew. You know, people in this country are very forgiving, and I think they ought to continue in this mode. I don't think there's any room for the kinds of differences that I see arise. In a sense, we're very happy-go-lucky people. And this is the way we ought to continue. Incidentally, I would say that I was a little disturbed to see a parallel development in Pinal, where the faculty of law apparently is going to be based. Now, if there was a replica of what exists at St. Augustine being done down there, that's all right with me. But not to isolate.
It should be an extension of the faculty rather than a separate faculty.
Yes, right, that's right.
Anything else?
No, I think that's fine.